Well, Jenna, Ukraine is known as the world's breadbasket because of the sheer amount of grain it provides to multiple countries. But those wheat fields have since been cut off from the global regular supply, leaving millions in a potential food crisis.
I wish we were meeting under different circumstances, but the reality is that we're facing rising global food insecurity.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen kicked off these high-level meetings by focusing on the dangerous ripple effect of the Russian war on Ukraine. Yellen told her global economic counterparts that Russia is to blame for exacerbating a widespread food crisis.
This threat touches the most vulnerable people the hardest, families that are already spending disproportionate amounts of their income on food. Moreover, the interconnectedness of the global food system means that people on every continent are impacted.
Yellen pointed out that before the war began, some 800 million people lived in areas suffering from a shortage of food. Ukraine and Russia produce almost 15% of the world's wheat supply. Impoverished countries throughout the Middle East and Africa rely on wheat fields now cut off from the global supply chain, either by fighting or by blistering sanctions. The U.S. and its allies are working to prevent potentially millions of people from starving due to rising costs worldwide.
In the developing world, a typical family of a poor family spends as much as 2/3 of their income on food. And our estimates show that for each 1% increase in the food prices, 10 million people may be thrown into extreme poverty.
The war is hitting Lebanon hard, where Christian aid groups like Heart for Lebanon are trying to keep up with demand. About half of all Lebanese children are in need of assistance.
Lebanon counts on 87% of its grain and wheat from Ukraine. After the port of Beirut explosion on August 4th, 2020, which totally destroyed the grain silos in Lebanon, we've been living off on a 1-month supply. And now when you have a war like you do in Ukraine, it's becoming very, very hard to get.
Treasury Secretary Yellen will be having a closed-door meeting with the Prime Minister of Ukraine as she tries to figure out this global food crisis along with other global economic leaders. Jenna?